Hey guys, welcome back to Sober in the South. I'm your host, Larry Green. You have to excuse me, it's been quite a while since we've been back on here. We've talked about it, and I've had some people ask me why I haven't posted anything lately. I'm going to be honest with you. We're going to just jump right into it. From episode 1, we talked about the fact that I was doing this as a way to really kind of get my mind going and get it going to understand what I'm doing, but also to get it off of where I was at with the drinking. Just so you know, we are now 11 months in, and we got about a month before we're at a year, of course, so that's how that math works, but still doing pretty good. If we're being honest, I have had 2 opportunities where I have actually had a margarita, both of which I had a margarita, and in both scenarios, I just love the taste of them. It wasn't necessarily even about wanting to drink as much as just wanting to taste the margarita, but in both situations, once I did, it was immediately, this is okay, but this just really isn't for me anymore. So I really enjoyed that. I really enjoyed that. The last one I had, literally, I thought, I don't like where this puts my head. It wasn't a huge drink. It was a small, just a regular size margarita. And I was just like, I finished it. It was good. But afterwards, I had this almost like cloud in my head with some type of sense of, not confusion, but just fogginess. And I decided, I don't want this. I don't need this type of feeling in my life. So, it kind of goes into the idea of what I said a long time ago with what you can tell people when you say you don't want to drink. It's, man, I just don't like the way it feels. So, other than that, I've been really good with the idea of drinking, with not wanting to drink, with where I'm at with it altogether. The biggest thing, like I said to begin with, was that I didn't want to think about it all the time. And what I found was that I kind of got into this part with the podcast where I had to start thinking more about wanting to drink so that I could come up with ideas of why I didn't want to. And that almost got tiresome and exhausting. So I really kind of thought to myself, well, why? Why would you put yourself in a scenario where you're thinking about wanting to drink? So I took a break and said, let's not mess with it. And honestly, where I'm at right now is I'm kind of to that same point, with the idea of continuing on with the drinking, or not drinking, not in my life, but in regards to podcasting. And one thing I wanted to get into was, where I'm at in my life. Let's talk about that for a brief second. When I quit drinking in March, it had nothing to do with anything health related. However, sometime around April and May, we found out that I had some reoccurring melanoma come back that I've been fighting with for 10 years now. So we had to put a real big focus on that. And I did a lot of podcasts along the way where I really didn't get into it much. Maybe I mentioned it briefly, but not a lot. So with that being said, I just wanted to focus on that. And honestly, not drinking made it a lot easier. Made it a lot easier to focus on my health. It made it a lot easier to focus on the medications that I was on, and made it a lot easier to accept things with my family that, originally I was always very standoffish. I'll just drink everything away and I'll be fine. Where this time it was more of, kind of let them in, let them know what's going on. So all that felt really good. And it was nice to be in the moment with all that going on. Now, since then, I've had a couple small surgeries, couple big surgeries, and then some trial medications that didn't go as planned. And it created a lot of health issues, a lot of health concerns, just a lot of scariness, to be honest with you. around November, December, it was, end of October, November, December were some scary times. So, we got it all under control and everything's good there. One thing I would like to say is that within that time, I didn't drink. Life was hard, but it wasn't hard because of drinking. And a matter of fact, I was able to stay in my head and I was able to understand what I was doing. And I was able to go day to day without making an excuse of why I needed to drink. And don't think that it didn't come up. There came a point when we had questions about if they were going to get everything out, what other problems was it going to have, and where was this going to be short-term, long-term. And, the easy thing to step into that and say was, well, hell, why do I need to quit drinking? If all this is going to come to a head soon anyways, then why don't I just enjoy it and drink whatever the hell I want and do whatever I want and just go about my business that way? And what I actually realized was that's not what I wanted to do. Like, I wanted to live in the moment. I wanted to have my beautiful wife right beside me, not mad at me, not understanding what she's thinking, not waking up the next day going, oh shit, I've done this or that or whatever. But the reality is I wanted her to be happy and I wanted to be happy and I wanted my kids to be happy and I wanted to be in all those moments. I got to spend a large amount of time with my father over that same time down in Florida and sober as can be, to the point that even he looked at it like, seriously? At one point I walked away, I'd finished my drink and it was, just a glass of water or pop or something. And I'd walked away and I said, well, I'm out of my drink. I need to go get something to drink. And I went over to a water fountain, but it was kind of out of the way, came back with a glass of water, and he just about fell out of his chair because he just assumed I was going to come back with a beer. And, he's not one of those, I'm 40 something years old. He's not one of those that's going to look at me and go, I'm your keeper. He's going to tell me, you do whatever you want to do. You're a grown ass man. So, but for him to look at me and be like, well, I'll be damned. I actually just assumed you were going to have a beer, that actually felt pretty good to go, no, I said, this is what I want. And that was a little early on. So that was good. But, made it through the holidays, not much problem there. Did a lot of podcasting on dry January, and I just kind of thought to myself, man, if you were able to go 30 days without drinking, why would you start back up? Like, I don't know. And that's just me, to everybody their own, but the first 3 weeks were probably by far the hardest. So, I didn't need a risk reward or a catch to it. And the hard part about the dry January or whatever it is you're looking at is, again, you're saying, I'm not going to do something, period. And I don't like doing that. I love the idea that I have given myself the ability to go, I'm not going to drink today. And I'm not going to perceive that I'm going to drink tomorrow, but I'm not going to commit to anything beyond the fact of today. Today is the day I can control. I can't control tomorrow. I can't control yesterday, but I can control today. And today, I don't want to drink. And that's what I've done for the last 330 something days. And it's worked for me. I don't know if it worked for you, but it worked for me. At the same point, if you've went 30 days and your body's kind of clearing out now and you've got a lot of those toxins out of your body, well, now you've set yourself up to go, oh my goodness, I've made it. So what kind of night are you going to have after that? Like, are you going to go to the bar and go, I made it, now I can have a beer? Or are you going to go to the bar and you're going to celebrate and you're going to just drink as much damn beer as you can get a hold of? So I don't know. I don't know that answer. I know for me it would have never been a good one because, I probably wouldn't have just made it the 30 days because there was no commitment to quit. It was just a commitment to stop for 30 days. And I don't know what that does. I don't know what that does for the person because I don't concept it. So, but that's where we're at with that. So, and that's just been the last bit. The last thing that happened was, went on vacation to an all inclusive where I've already paid for all the food and I've already paid for all the alcohol, and everybody there was going to be drinking. And I was a little concerned when we went because I didn't know how I would handle in that environment. It's not just the fact that everybody around me was drinking, because I've been around that, but I've been around that in short increments, a few hours here, a few hours there. Not so much wake up at 10 and people are drinking, go to bed at 1 a.m. and people are drinking, and everyone is doing it. And top of that, with the fact that I just paid this X amount of money to be somewhere where all this is paid for. And all I have to do is walk up and say, give me one. I don't need to pay anything for that financially. Now, there would have been a lot to pay for had I done it. So I was really, nervous wasn't the word, but more conflicted with how was I going to handle it? How was I going to deal with it? And would I be able to do it? And honestly, I've talked with my wife about it. One of them was where I had one of the margaritas. That was maybe our third day in, and that was for dinner. And it was right before dinner. And like I said, when I sat down to eat, I looked at my wife. I said, I don't like this. I don't like this feeling. Like, I don't want to feel like this. That was the first time I wanted a drink. And like I said, that was more towards, I just really like the taste of margaritas, and I wanted to have one. I think if it was non-alcoholic, I could have. Matter of fact, I drank a lot of lemonade the rest of the time I was there, just because I didn't want alcohol. But afterwards, like at dinner, I looked there and said, I'm pretty sure there won't be a concern as to whether I'm drinking the rest of this trip or not, because just at this moment, I have no desire to want to drink anything. I have no desire to want to feel like this. So if you haven't drank anything, just know that that's a feeling you're going to get right there, if you do. So if I can keep you from drinking anything, then there you go. If you're younger and you don't really drink, and this is something you're listening to, and it's always being kind of questionable, understand that's real. Like understand that when you start to drink or whatever, no matter how many times you drink, there's a point you don't like it. It's just that if you are like me, you drink so much that you finally just pass out and you don't really remember the fact that you didn't like it. But there's always that feeling in your head. It's just when you're going to get it, and are you going to be awake when you do or not, or are you going to wake up the next morning and just feel like absolute shit? And I promise you, then that foggy feeling's in your head there. For me, it was just more instant. Right after I finished drinking and we sat there, and I just didn't like it. So that's really all there is with that. So we're going to wrap this one up here. I'm probably going to do another one where I'm going to kind of segue into some other things that are going on that are a little more relevant, and maybe an idea of where we might go with a podcast from here. So if you like it, stay tuned. I'm probably going to throw this one up right after that one, and I'll take a small break, and we'll be back. So thank you, and I hope you enjoy listening to Sober in the South. Once again, I'm your host, Larry Green.